The Nevada sun doesn't just bun, it stalks you, settles into your skin until you can smell the baked fabric of your own sleeves. That's where Staff Sergeant Sofia Rivera is today, half buried beneath the belly of an F-16 Fighting Falcon, wrench in hand, sweat cutting a trail through a thin film of jet fuel dust on her face. Out in the open, the pilots have decided it's comedy hour. Grease monkey, one of them calls out, touch a real stick and I'll have to call medics. Their laughter isn't kind, more like gravel poured over concrete, sharp and meant to scratch. She keeps turning the wrench, because sometimes the best response is the one they don't hear. Historians still argue whether silence in moments like this is an act of defiance or just the only option when the system's built against you. A few feet away, Captain Rodriguez leans in the shade, tapping his soda can against his thigh, tossing out bets like poker chips. A month's pay says Rivera never hears a call sign from the tower unless it's to fetch coffee. Nobody argues. Nobody even pretends to. Sophia hears it all, but stays in the shadow of the fuselage, 5 feet 2 inches against a wall of titanium and composite alloys, her hands marked with scars that could each tell a story about busted knuckles, stubborn bolts, and nights when a single strip screw felt like the enemy. Then come those precise, almost parade ground footsteps. Colonel Morrison, every crease in his uniform sharp enough to cut paper. He stops, looks down, and doesn't ask her name so much as he inventories it. And you are? When she answers, his gaze flicks past her to the black leather flight logbook in her open toolbox. He plucks it up, flips through pages filled with early morning Cessna flights, hours stolen between double shifts, the inked climb toward her pilot's license. Mechanics, he says, snapping it shut, have no business pretending to be pilots. He tucks it under his arm and walks away like it's contraband. After that, the sabotage turns from whispers to action. Tools vanish, then reappear behind unrelated equipment. Maintenance reports she files somehow don't make it into the system. One afternoon, she takes a swig from her water bottle only to spit out real grit, sand poured in by someone who wanted to make the message taste bitter. She eats alone, works alone, circles the perimeter fence at night, just to keep moving, the F-16s sitting under floodlights like giant sleeping predators. In the distance, the hangars hum with work she's still trusted to dope cause, even when they want you gone. They can't fly without you. The next morning, the air is already shimmering by the time Sophia catches a sound that doesn't belong, the quick, too forceful flick of a pre-flight checklist. A young pilot is working along Fighting Falcon 415, rushing, his hand landing a little too heavy on the flap actuator housing she'd serviced the day before. The metallic pop that follows is small, but it cuts through the background roar of the bass like a cracked note in an orchestra. She knows that sound fatigue, metal complaining under stress. In the books, it's a footnote. In reality, it's the kind of flaw that can turn altitude into freefall. She's moving before she even decides to. Rag hitting the ground, her boots scuffing across hot tarmac. "Captain," she says, voice low but steady, "hold up. I need to check that actuator again." He gives her the look pilots reserve for people without wings, half amusement, half dismissal. "It's fine, Sergeant." Followed procedure. Her jaw tightens. "I heard it pop. That's not normal." And here's the thing, historians still argue whether a single voice can change a chain of command's momentum, but she tries anyway. Morrison arrives mid-standoff, cuts her off with a raised hand, orders her back to her post. From the hangar's mouth, she watches Falcon 415 taxi out, sunlight flashing across its canopy. Afterburners ignite, heat shimmer, turning the air to liquid. She forces herself back to her workbench, but a gap in the tower's radio chatter catches her ear. Then static, broken words. "Eagle 7 flap, control negative response," her chest tightens. Eagle 7 is 415. Instinct takes over. She grabs her toolkit and bolts for the control tower, master keys flashing in her hand. Through the maintenance corridor, into the comms room, she spots it immediately. The backup channel choking on unstable power, a mis-seated black lead, copper shielding scorched from arcing. "Kill power to backup module," she tells a tech, already fishing a fresh cable from her kit. That'll drop the last link, he warns. It's already dead, she shoots back. 30 seconds later, the hiss of dead air morphs into a ragged human voice. Tower Eagle 7 fuel critical approach unstable. She heads straight for the glass-walled cabin. Morrison's there, eyes on the radar, ready to reprimand her again. She doesn't slow. You want him down alive or not? Silence answers. She takes a headset, her voice cutting clean into the chaos. Eagle 7, this is Rivera. You got a flap actuator failure. Hydraulics dead. I'm walking you through the manual override. Step by step, red lever. Hold 3 seconds. Drop speed in increments. Abort primary runway for the secondary. The jet comes in hot. Tail hook catching the arrestor cable with a whip crack, shuddering to a stop just short of the overrun. In the tower, relief crashes over the room like a wave. Sophia sets the headset down and walks out without waiting for thanks, because the real victory is watching a pilot climb out alive, not hearing your name over applause. The debrief is formal, the kind where words are weighed like ammunition. Captain Martinez stands before the assembled personnel, recounting how a routine training flight turned into a fuel-starved battle with a crippled bird, and how a voice clear, certain, unexpected brought him down in one piece. He names her, recommends her for a commendation medal, and immediate officer training. It's the first time anyone on that base hears Staff Sergeant Sophia Rivera without the weight of a smirk. That evening, Morrison shows up at her quarters with a logbook. He doesn't bother with ceremony, just says, I was wrong. Report to the training office at 0800. If you've ever been underestimated so completely, you know that sometimes the best apology is opportunity. Training is as stripped down and punishing as you'd imagine scorched asphalt strips, prefab classrooms rattling in the wind, a control tower that looks like it's been patched together from spare parts. But when she zips into a fresh flight suit for the first drill takeoff, pattern flight, precision landing gets the same feeling she had in that comms room. She belongs exactly where she's standing. Halfway through her final turn, the instructor calls an engine failure. She doesn't blink, throttle back, rudder, trim, steady descent. She plants the landing with 100 feet to spare. Somewhere, a betting pool dies quietly. Weeks blur into each other formation drills, live-fire runs, team exercises where she slips into lead position without waiting for orders. The final evaluation throws her into a test platform with controls that feel like someone rearranged the furniture in her own house. Mid-flight, the system flags an intermittent actuator signal loss. She diagnoses, compensates, lands steady. By the time Morrison slides an officer's insignia box across the table, there's no smugness, just a nod that says the debate is over. The ceremony is brief. Out on the flight line, an F-35 claws into the sky while Martinez pins her new bars. Leads yours next month, he tells her. She grins small, deliberate. Wouldn't dream of letting you down, Captain. That night, she walks to the runway's far end, where sodium light fades into desert dark and the stars feel close enough to hook with a fingertip. She thinks about the water bottle grit, the missing tools, the smothered chuckles. Each one, a brick in the path that's brought her here. The wind carries the distant thrum of another sortie launching. She closes her eyes, lets it fill her chest, then turns back toward the hangars. Because here's the thing, quiet persistence isn't about waiting your turn. It's about trimming your own wings, adjusting pitch through the turbulence, and flying on your own clearance. So if you're standing at the edge of your own field, hearing the world doubt you, remember what she saw. You don't have to shout to be heard. You just keep moving one check, one climb, one landing at a time until the tower calls your name.